Thank you so much, Jordan. Thank you so much for inviting me to be with your listeners. I'm very honored, and it's always a pleasure to connect with you and see you and do stuff with you. So, everybody, thank you for joining us. This is called Energy Connection. Understanding energy from the cellular level, what that means, how it works, and to experience it and embody it. So I just want to start off with a very brief meditation. So if you'd like, you can close your eyes or not, whatever makes you feel good. Ana bakoach, gedulat yamincha, tatir tzura, kabel rinat amcha, sagvenu terenu nora, nagibor dorshe yehudcha, kabavat shomrem barchem terem rachamei tzidketecha, Tamid gomlam chasin kadosh barov tucha nehel adatecha yechid gehe lamcha pne zokrei kedushatecha shavatenu kabel ushmat zaktenu yodaa ta'alumot. So that prayer that I just said came to me in a dream. I was living in Tucson, Arizona before I had made Aliyah to Israel, to Tzfat. And I heard this prayer in the dream, and I thought, this seems pretty important. I better wake up and write this down, Ana Bakoach. I have no idea what this prayer is. That's all I heard. I heard the two words, Ana Bakoach. So I woke up, I wrote down Ana Bakoach, I went back to sleep. When I woke up, I Googled Ana Bakoach, and I find out that it's like the most potent Kabbalistic prayer. And that just blew me away. So things like that kept happening to me before I made Aliyah to Israel. And I spent 9 years in Israel, both, as Jordan said, in Tzfat and in Ein Kerem, Jerusalem. And we also spent some time, my wife and I, in Yodfat, up in between Tzfat and Haifa near Carmiel. Okay, so what are we going to do here? We're going to talk about energy. What is energy? Why is it important? And if you had more of it, what would you do? Energy is kind of a commodity. Well, it's true. Einstein said E equals mc squared. Energy equals mc squared. E is the energy. What's this mc squared? Well, energy is something that never dissipates. It just changes its form. For example, if you're down in Ein Gedi at the Dead Sea in the summertime and it's over 100 degrees Fahrenheit, 42, 44 degrees Celsius, and you put an ice cube on the pavement, what happens? It melts very fast and is now a puddle of water. And another few moments and it's going to evaporate and it's going to be a gas. But it still is. It changes form from ice cube to water to a gas. And this is the nature of the soul. Right now, the soul is in a body. When the body drops, when your body is no longer alive, your soul will continue to exist. In fact, even before you came into this body, your soul existed. But that's a whole nother workshop. So let's talk more about energy. If you're on a highway, I know in, let's say, near Ramat Gan, and you're going on the 4, or you're in Renana and you're on the 20, you know, the highway that connects, and there's lots of traffic in the morning, usually, not right now, of course. But when there's lots of traffic, if there's an accident, the traffic is going to bottleneck everyone. And if you're in LA, we can talk about the 405 and the 101. It's a parking lot during rush hour. And so what happens is all the cars back up. Well, the same thing is true in your body. If you're aware of Chinese medicine and you've seen the little doll in the Chinese doctor's office, the doll is white, there's black lines on it, and on the black lines are black dots. These black lines are called meridians, highways of energy, pathways that travel through the body. And the black dots are subos, the points on the meridians where the acupuncturist placed the needles to do acupuncture. There's also another treatment you could get if you're not into needles. It's called acupressure, where a therapist would press those points that typically the needles would go in. So why Chinese medicine works with acupuncture is because these needles unblock energy that's stuck at certain intersections, just like the 405 and the 101 in Los Angeles. Okay, and it gets the traffic going in your body. So let's say you have a blockage in your elbow, in your right elbow. Well, that's going to affect your wrist and your hand and your shoulder. And if your shoulder's affected, it's probably going to affect your hip, your knee, and your ankle. All because you have a block in your elbow. So the Chinese medicine doctor will put a needle on some points near your elbow, release the energy, and things will start to move again. Now, let me give you another analogy of how this works. If you're outside of your house and you have a water spigot, a water tap on the side of your house, and you have a hose, a garden hose that you hook up to it, and you turn on the water normally flows out the hose. But if the hose is kinked up or has a knot in it, no water is going to come out of it. Yeah. And if there's enough pressure in the hose, that hose is going to expand. And if there's enough pressure on it, it could pop over time. That is an energy blockage. So these meridians, these energy highways, according to the Torah, are called sinews. And that we have 248 organs and there's 365 sinews. So whether you're looking at the body in the system of Chinese medicine, the system of Ayurvedic medicine from India, the meridians are called nadis, or in Kabbalah, sinews. Okay, so every mystical tradition understands the body according to energy and how energy moves. Okay. Now I'm going to take question and answers at the end, so please be patient, ride out the story, and we'll get questions answered at the end. Now I want to talk about something else. How your body perceives energy through the senses. Let's see. What are sinews in Hebrew? That's a good question. We'll get those questions answered at the end of the presentation, but continue to share your questions if you have them. That way we have them in the little chat box here. And okay, back to my lecture notes. So all the colors of the rainbow have different frequencies. And if you're familiar with yoga and all the different chakras, each chakra connects to a different color and a different energy and a different vibration or frequency. Now, there's all kinds of frequencies out there that your body is picking up. There's radio waves, microwaves, gamma rays, X-rays, TV waves, radio waves, microwaves, and X-rays. Okay, all different frequencies and microwaves. And now there used to be 2G cell, now there's 3G cell and 4G cell, and what they want to do in the future is 5G cell, 5G cellular connectivity, and that's already been established in some places. The first one was Wuhan, China, and but that's a whole nother story again. We'll get into that as well. So all the different colors have a different frequency, like these different radio waves and TV waves that we just spoke of. Now, all the colors that exist in the rainbow, you can see red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet. But there's more colors in the rainbow than that. You just can't see them. On top of violet, there's ultraviolet. And below red, there's infrared, but you can't see them. The only way you can see those, infrared, you can see if you have a Sony camcorder and you're recording video at night and it's totally dark. The infrared abilities will allow you to see images as if there were lights on. Now, ultraviolet you can't see either, but you know that's real because you wear sunglasses to protect yourself from ultraviolet. Now, sound, you can hear many sounds, but you can't hear the sound of a dog whistle. Now, how does your body pick up all this stuff and hold? We talked about in the verbiage of this class, cellular memory. Okay, so I'm just laying the foundation for many things, and we're going to tie the web together in a little bit. Cellular memory means that you store information in your body, not just your mind. Most people think you just store a memory in your mind, but no. Memory is stored in the cells of your body. How does that happen? Every cell in your body has three things: an electron, a neutron, and electron, neutron, and a proton. One is positive, one is negative, and one is neutral, just like an electric circuit. Just like the plug in the wall that you plug in your devices. Most places will have either 2 or 3 holes for the outlet in your wall. The third one that's optional is the ground, but it's very important to have the ground because it will stop the device from shorting out. And basically the ground is hooked up to a rod, a metal rod that is just staked in or pounded into the earth, and the cable, the ground cable, is wrapped around that. In a car, the ground wire is connecting to any piece of metal, and all vehicles have this. So electron, proton, and neutron. What is that? That's an electric circuit. And every cell in your body has an electric circuit. This is where the notion of cellular memory comes from. Okay, so how does that work? In the old days, we had cassettes. Yeah, we record music on the cassette, or you bought a cassette already pre-recorded. You take it home, you put it in your cassette player, and you listen to music. So now, the latest thing that there was CDs. You buy a CD, you put it in your CD player, and you hear music. How do these things work? How do they store information and then turn them into music? Well, the cassette, the information is stored on that tape of the cassette. That tape is electromagnetic. And when the electromagnetic tape runs over the head of the cassette player, that head reads the electromagnetic charge on the tape. It converts that electromagnetic charge into a frequency that is then played through your speakers, and then you hear sound. So how does it work on a CD player? On a CD, the information is stored digitally in light and is embedded in that CD. Okay, right now, we're being broadcast through Israel. So Jordan's in Israel. For him to hear my voice, our voices are traveling in cables of light underneath the Atlantic Ocean and fiber optic cables. So right now, my voice is getting converted from sound to an electronic impulse, goes through the computer over the internet, and at some point, the internet signals go through fiber optic cables in the form of light under the Atlantic Ocean all the way to the Middle East. In Tel Aviv, the light is converted into an electronic impulse, and it goes through the internet there to Jordan's computer, and then that is converted into sound, and you guys in Jordan are all hearing this broadcast. So I'm just showing you some examples of how information is stored electromagnetically. So when you understand that it can be stored on a cassette, on tape, electromagnetically, and information can be stored as light on a CD or fiber optic cables, you can then understand how it can be stored in your body in the cells, because every cell is electromagnetic because it has an electron, a proton, and a neutron. Now, how does that work in a day-to-day experience? I'm going to share that with you now. So let's say this is pretty graphic, but it's a great example. Let's say we have a 13-year-old girl. She got raped. We fast forward the film to 30 years later. She develops cancer, cervical cancer, uterine cancer, and then 5 years later, she has a full hysterectomy and has those body parts removed from her body to get rid of the cancer. So then a few years later, the cancer comes back. Why? Because how energy works in the realm of physics is things happen in the energy body first. Okay, let's say you want to make a meal. You probably think about what meal you want before you make it, and then make sure you have the ingredients. If you need a recipe, you get the recipe, and then you put everything together, and then you have a meal. Remember the Ford amazing car, the Mustang, that came out in the 60s? That car is still in production today. At some point, that car was someone's imagination. Oh, we're going to create this great, sexy car. It's going to be hot. It's going to sell a lot of cars. And this is what it looks like. And the guy made a drawing of it. And then after he made a drawing of it, maybe he made a three-dimensional drawing of it. And then maybe they made a plastic model of it, maybe 10 centimeters by 5 centimeters. And then maybe they built one of those cars, a prototype. Okay, so all these things happen before a car goes in production. It's a process, but first it was a thought. So let's go back to this little girl that was raped at 13, and now she's 35, and her cancer returned because after she had a full hysterectomy, and cancer came back. Why? So just as everything starts in energy with the Mustang, same with disease. Okay, so this girl had a trauma. At 13 years old, she was raped. That's very traumatic. That process messes with one's sense of self, with feeling like invaded. Imagine your house was robbed and how vulnerable you would feel because that happened. Well, that's the same thing that happens when a trauma like rape goes on. And it affects the person very, very deeply, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. It's a trauma. So from a spiritual perspective of healing the person that was raped, her cancer could go away if that person dealt with the emotions that were stirred up, created because of the trauma. Unless the emotional experience is addressed and dealt with, the cancer could return. So if the energy of the trauma was dealt with before a surgery, then the physical body could actually heal from it, and a surgery may not be necessary. Okay? This is because the information of that trauma was stored in the cellular in the cellular uh, in the cells of the body. So unless we remove the charge that's stored in the cells, that trauma will remain. Even if you had all the the those body parts removed, it's still in your energy field. What does that mean? There's something called Carillion photography, which shows the energy of your auric field. So right now, you can see the outer limit of my physical body, but that's my physical body. I have something else called a causal body, or an aura body, and that's around me. And you can't see that. I mean, some people can see that, but most people do not see your auric field, but it's there. Like in America, if you're at the airport and you get close to someone, you can feel someone's in your space. And in America, people don't like that. In Israel, people allow people into their auric field a lot closer. Okay, it's a very different culture. My point is that you can feel when someone's in your auric field. Okay, now energy and this auric body, what I was talking about with Carillion photography, is this type of photography will allow you to photograph the auric field and see it. Now, let's say we have a picture of a leaf. We take a regular picture of a leaf, it's a whole leaf, you see the whole leaf. And then with the auric photography, you'll see the energy body around the leaf. If you Google auric photography and leaf, you'll see what I'm talking about. So let's say now we take that leaf and we cut it in half. And then we take another aura photograph of it. You will see now the photo will only have half a leaf, but the aura will remain the same as it was before we tore that leaf. The energy of that leaf is the same. It's like someone who had a limb amputated can still feel their whole limb, even though physically it's not there. It's the same thing. Okay? So this is what I mean by healing on a cellular level. When we address the energy that's stored in the cells, a trauma, a memory that's stored in the cells, and we clear that, it will then clear from the physical body. Okay? Now, science is saying if we just cut out the cancer, it won't come back. And many times that's true, but many times that's not true. So healing from a cellular level with any type of trauma, and we have traumas all the time. Just having a fight with someone, not a physical fight, but a yelling, screaming fight with someone is traumatic. Okay, you might feel your body shaking a little bit, you might feel your belly upset, and then you chill out, you go for a walk, you breathe, you let it go, and then your body comes back to homeostasis, a normal sense of rhythms inside the body. Okay, So what we're talking about is how to shift what goes on the body, it goes on in the body that you think, oh, something happened to me 15 years ago, it's not bothering me anymore. Unless you've looked and addressed at the cellular memory, the trauma is probably there. You can go to talk therapy for 15 years, and the trauma can still be in your body. So what we're doing with this work is healing from a cellular level. We address the energy that's in the cell. Okay. So we're going to continue, and I'm going to tell you about a story of a little girl that was ill and in a wheelchair. This story comes from Carolyn Meese's book, Why We Don't Heal. Carolyn Meese is a medical intuitive that's very famous. And the story goes like this. There's this girl, she's in a chair. She's getting all this attention because people have to take care of her. If this girl really heals, she would not be getting all of this attention that she's so used to. So we have different situations going on that give us benefit. So if you're finding benefit in a current situation that isn't totally healthy, there's some benefits people have that justify why they don't want to heal. Okay? And I'm going to give you another example of this. There was a Native American man who was paraplegic. And the elders of this tribe talked to him because he was not a very happy camper. And he was making all the people around him quite miserable because he wasn't happy. You know, misery loves company. And when you're miserable, you try to make everyone else miserable. It's just what happens. If you're happy and vibrant and energetic, you want to be vibrant, happy, and energetic and attract those people and inspire that in them. So this guy was not a happy camper. He was in a wheelchair also. And the elders came and said to him, listen, do you want to heal? Do you really want to heal? He said, yes. The elders took him to a pond and they threw him in the water. He's paraplegic. He can't swim. The elders yelled out to him, do you want to heal? Do you really want to heal? They said, then call back your spirit. Call back your spirit. The Native American man walked out of the pond, healed. Why? I think you get it. He called back his spirit. This is a true story. Very true story. So our bodies are made up of more than 90% water. And what do we know about water? That if you take water in a bowl and you bring a sound to it, it's going to vibrate. As if you dropped a stone in it and makes ripples. Your voice can make the water ripple. And depending on certain sounds and frequencies that you put on the water, it will make different rhythms. Another example, if you have a plate of sheet metal, a square piece of sheet metal, half a meter by a half a meter, 1 foot by 1 foot, something like that, and in the middle is a pole hooking it to the floor like a restaurant table, okay? And then you sprinkle sand on it, maybe 5 cups of sand, maybe half a liter of sand. You sprinkle on the sheet metal, and then you take a bow from a violin and you play it on the edge of the sheet metal, guess what happens to the sand? It moves into a mandala. A mandala is a perfectly symmetrical shape, as if you're looking through a kaleidoscope. And if you play another stroke of the bow on the edge of the sheet metal, what happens? The sand moves and it looks like a big mess. There's no order to it. There's no symmetry to it. It's just chaos. And then as you keep playing this bow on the edge of the sheet metal, it moves into another geometric pattern, perfectly symmetrical, but different than the first one. How does that happen? A man named Hans Jenning from Europe, a scientist, did these experiments, and they're called cymatics, Cymatics, cymatics. Hans Jenning. You can look him up on the internet. There's videos, and you can see videos of what I'm talking about. You can also see an experiment there that if you have a wine cup and you set it on a table and someone's playing a very high-pitched sound, you begin to see the wine cup actually move, the top of it change its form as if it's melting a little bit. And then if the pitch gets higher and higher, you'll eventually see this wine glass break. Why? Because frequency, vibration, has an immediate effect on the physical form. As an example is this wine glass and the sand moving into a mandala on a piece of sheet metal. How is this related to healing from a cellular level? If you listen to sacred sound, the sound has a frequency of vibration. It will imagine the sound ironing a wrinkled shirt. The wrinkled shirt is your body in the trauma. And the sounds can actually smooth things out and get rid of the wrinkles. It's a vibration. Remember, we talked about vibration, that vibration can change physical matter, as proved by the wine glass experiment and the sand on the sheet metal. So this is how we affect change on the cellular memory, with frequency, with vibration. Now, what has frequency and vibration that we can aim it at the body to change the landscape of the body? Sound. You've heard of sound healing. Light therapy. Different colors have different vibration, different frequency. Meditation and healing. Healing is bringing in frequencies to the physical body and observing the physical body shift because of their interaction. So we have sound, we have light, color. Another thing that has vibration is essential oils. Now, essential oils are even spoken about in the Torah of Ketoret. The high priest was anointed with oil. The high priest lit incense on Yom Kippur to atone for all the people's sins. So it's like everyone getting healing immediately. So the essential oils, Ketoret, are essential oils of like myrrh, frankincense, galbanum. There's 11 of them that make up Ketoret, but all essential oils, rose, have frequencies. Different oils have different frequencies. And the different frequencies are vibrations that interact with the body and create healing. Okay, so that was a lot of technical information. Let's do a time check. Check on the phone. Okay, we have 20 minutes left. So now what I want to do is take you through an experience of meditation, which is frequency, vibration going into the physical body. And then we'll open this up to questions. So I'd like everyone to close your eyes. Okay? And when you close your eyes, I want you to imagine 4 letters in front of you. I'm not going to tell you what they are first. First, I want you to focus on your breath. Close your eyes, breathe in and out through your nose, as long as the nasal passages are clear. If the nasal passages aren't clear, you can breathe through your mouth, but better to breathe through your nose. Okay, and just relax your body. Let go of any tension you're holding, any thoughts from before, or anything that I brought up. Just let it go right now. We'll address it soon. And I just want your focus to be on my voice and the breath. You can let out a sound. Feel your feet on the earth. Feel your spine tall and erect, each vertebra on top of the one before it. Lifting your sternum, relaxing your shoulders. Imagine your head being lifted by a string, like you're a marionette, and the head is being lifted out of the neck. The neck is lifted out of the shoulders. The shoulders are being lifted up out of the rib cage. The rib cage is being lifted up out of the pelvis, and the pelvis is sinking into the earth. Then I want you to imagine that there's 2 highways running up and down your body. One highway goes from the earth up into the cosmos. Earth energy comes up through your spine, out your head, and into the cosmos. And then cosmic energy is coming down from the sky, past the Earth's atmosphere, where all the planets are. That energy comes down through the Earth's atmosphere, through your head, through your body, down your tailbone, and into the earth. And these energies are moving simultaneously in both directions. And just feel that energy. Breathe. And now the name, I told you to see some letters in front of you. You're going to see a yud, a golden yud. The yud is 3-dimensional. It's radiating golden light. It's alive. You can sense the presence of this yud right out in front of you. To the left of the yud is a hey. The letter hey. Golden, vibrating, radiating energy. Next to the hey is a vav. Golden vav, 3-dimensional, radiating energy, just floating in front. And then next to the vav is another hey. This hey is 3-dimensional, golden. And now you have the tetragrammatron, this holy name, just floating in front of you, golden light. And you can probably even feel the heat of the letters on your chest. And I want you to imagine below the yud is the vowel of the 3 dots that make a triangle with the 3 dot nikudot. So now I want you to imagine that that vowel is under every letter. And then I want you to say the sound of the letter with that vowel to yourself. because that's a frequency, that's a vibration, that's sound. And that sound and that vibration is resonating in your body. Just like in yoga, the sound Om. Every sound in yoga, they're called Bij mantras. And what we know about the mantras is it changes the atmosphere, changes the physical reality. So we're going to just take a few moments to silently sound the letters Yud with the vowel, Hey with the vowel, Vav with the vowel, and the final Hey with the vowel. So keep saying these letters with the vowels to yourself now in silence. Okay, come back to your breathing. Bring your awareness back to your breath. Breathing in and out through the nose. Inhale, fill your belly. Exhale, belly contracts. Inhale, fill your belly. Exhale, belly contracts. Feel the feet on the floor. Feel the soles of your feet. Feel your spine. Feel your fingers and toes wiggling toes and fingers, connected to the arms and to the legs. And whenever you're ready, gently opening the eyes. And welcome home. Welcome home. Okay, Jordan, I'd like to open this up to hear about anything that people want to ask or share about this brief meditation experience. And first, I want to say that if you felt anything like felt really cold, even shivering, that's normal. If you got very hot, that's normal. If you felt tingling in your arms or limbs, normal. If you felt dizzy, normal. Okay, let's open it up, Jordan. Anyone want to share anything about this meditation experience?
You could either unmute yourself or submit your question in the chat.
Hey, Amir. Thank you. Thanks for being here, bro. Amir is my good friend who hooked me up with Jordan. Jordan's a good friend also. Okay, anyone have anything you want to ask or share about this meditation experience? Okay, you can also write to me privately. You can get my contact information from Jordan if you'd like, and everything will remain totally confidential. Okay, So no questions, nothing, no one wants to share anything about that experience. That's perfectly cool. Just know that whatever experience you had, even if it is outside of the box of your normal experience of reality, that it's normal. And the things that I just spoke of do happen to people when meditation is happening. Okay, question. How does the meditation remove your personal trauma? Okay, so we just use the vibration of the Hebrew letters with that vowel sound, eh, like ya. I mean, yeah. The yud with that sound is yeah. Okay, so that sound is a frequency. That sound is resonating and washing through you. Just like I said, if we took water and made that sound on the water, you could see it. If you were loud enough, you could see it ripple in the water. And just like you could see the sand move on the sheet metal, the sheet metal with the vibration going through it, it changes the physical. So it's really important to see these things. So if you Google cymatics experiment sound and sand on metal, you'll see what I'm talking about. And you'll understand that the vibration that we just said in the meditation will flow through you. Now, the frequency of the sound that we just said is resonant to chesed, which is love. And we're counting the Omer, and this week in the Omer count is chesed. So love is the glue stick of returning everything to a homeostasis, to a frequency of balance and equanimity. Okay? Thank you for your question. Next question. Can you talk more about 5G? I'm seeing people in the alternative community are really against it. Can you explain why? Okay. So 5G is radiation. And some people are saying that the reason why there's coronavirus and that it broke out in Wuhan, China, is because that's the place in China that first turned on 5G. And places like Italy is another place where they just turned on 5G. And the boat that was on the shore of Japan, the Princess Cruise Line, they just put 5G access on those boats with big antennas, round antennas on the top of those ships that are beamed from satellite 5G out in space to that ship. And that's why so many people got it there. That is some of what these people are talking about. I have in my home something that, okay, we're talking about vibration. The earth has a frequency of 7.83. It's called the Schumann resonance. The Schumann resonance. And the Schumann resonance is changed when 2G, 3G, 5G radiation hits it. And it causes a change in that Earth's frequency of the Schumann resonance. So when things get out of balance from an energetic place, crazy things happen. Okay? So I invite you to look on the internet and you'll see all kinds of things going on with that. Or you can contact me personally and I have some resources that I can share with you. Thank you for your question. I do think it's very important to protect yourself from 5G and all radiation from internet stuff. In my home, I don't have Wi-Fi because Wi-Fi signals damage soft tissue. In my house, every computer is wired to the modem. There's no Wi-Fi in my house. And when we were living in the house in Ain Karam, it was an old Arabic style domed home. The walls are 4 or 5 feet. And you notice that cell phones don't work too good in those houses. Why? Because they filter out this radiation. So those houses, I love those houses because they're so insular, they're so primal. They're so protective energetically. Okay, next question. Why won't it move back? Can please, I don't understand your question. Amanda, please ask your question again. Oh, trauma. Oh, why won't trauma move back after it's healed? Good question. That's a great question. So let's say we talked about cassettes, right? Let's say you have a cassette, and on that cassette is the music of Madonna. Okay, we love Madonna, but you're tired of listening to Madonna. It's the only cassette you have. What can you do? You can erase the tape. And how do you erase that tape? You get a little box. In America, they sell this little box that has magnets spinning in it, and you put the cassette on the box, and the spinning magnets take off the magnetic charge from the cassette, and Madonna's music is no longer on the cassette. That's really how it works. You erase the tape. So the meditation, the vibrational healing, basically removes the charge that's stored in the cellular memory. Okay, that is how we know it won't come back. On that cassette, once we remove that charge, no matter how many times you put that cassette in your cassette player, Madonna's voice and music is not ever going to be there again because it's been removed electromagnetically. So when we remove the energetic trauma from a body, it never comes back. You'll still have the memory of the trauma from your mind, but the charge in your cell will be dissipated. I'll give you an example. Let's say I had a fight with my friend Joe, right? And every time I'm telling Amy about my fight with my friend Joe, I'm talking and my voice gets faster, my heart rate increases, my blood pressure increases. I'm still angry about this conversation with Joe. Now I'm going to tell Amy about a fight that I had with Susan. And this fight with Susan, and I'm telling Amy, my voice doesn't change, my heart rate doesn't change, my body temperature doesn't change. The experience with Susan has been healed because there's no more charge in my body that's triggering my emotion or anything. Okay, so if there's tension in a physical place where a family or people have been arguing or fighting, you walk into the house, they say you could cut the tension with a knife. That's a metaphor, but people can feel that. When you walk into a peaceful sanctuary or ashram or synagogue, holy place of many traditions, you feel peace. You feel that too. So again, these vibrations have the ability to remove a traumatic charge permanently, just like removing the sound off of that cassette. Just like bringing a different frequency of sound or vibration to the plate of sheet metal with all the sand, and a whole nother geometric pattern is going to form. Okay, so I have another question. I personally don't resonate with the letters of God's name. My experience with Judaism and the patriarchal manifestation of God has not been positive. Is there another word that can give me that resonance? When I said to think of letters, I thought of ahava. Would that create the same vibrational resonance? Yes, it will. It definitely will. It's the sound and the frequency. So if you put though that nikodot with ahava, would be that sound. You can do it with ahava. You can do it with any sound. And any sound that your body can make when you're in a peaceful state will be very healing. Okay, unfortunately, when you spelled out God's name, I stopped meditating, so I didn't actually try with another word. Great. So I would say right there that you have some trauma with God's name. And I would actually continue meditating with God's name because that's going to help release the trauma. So something happened to you with Judaism that was traumatic, and this is not unusual. I know many people that have been traumatized by religion or dogma or people that are representatives of that. Excuse me for 1 minute. Alina, can you close these blinds, please? Okay, sorry. The sun's coming up over here. I'm in Nevada right now. So I would highly, highly recommend that, being that you're triggered with God's name and it made you stop meditating, that's a focal point that I would dive into, even though it's uncomfortable. Okay, that's going to stir up whatever the trauma was. That's good. Stop right there. That's going to bring up whatever the trauma was and help you move through that. And I promise you, if you can move through that, you're going to find the peace and the name, just like you find the peace in the letters of Ahava. But you got to go slow and be gentle. Don't force yourself. You're going to feel resistance. That's normal. But thank you for sharing this, because this is a really big opening. This is a really big opening into a very big shift for you personally. Not for just you, for all the people that have this trauma, and there are many. Okay? So I have goosebumps in my body, because you could be a catalyst to heal yourself and many people, because, we're all one. We're not separate on any level. Okay? So thank you for sharing your experience of being triggered by that meditation. Sometimes when we're in person, I use the sound and I say sounds, and I have actual crystal bowls that make vibrations that you can feel them resonating through your body. And some people really love that sound. And some people really hate that sound and triggers them. They feel like it's like the sound of nails going down a chalkboard that's just so irritating. So anything that comes up that's irritating during that meditation, that's a doorway. It's uncomfortable. It doesn't feel good. But that's the keyhole to unlocking the trauma. Okay, thank you so much for sharing that. Next question, are there healing vibrations in eye movement therapy? Eye movement therapy is allowing, it's called rapid eye movement. So you're looking back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So it's a way to get out of your rational mind into the part of the mind that's the subconscious. So that is powerful. Okay, that is powerful. I know someone has to leave because it's top of the hour, so I'm going to end here. So if you guys have other places to go, thank you again for being here. And I can send you another meditation. I'll have Jordan share it with you. It's called the Spring Cleaning Healing Meditation Experience. That's a 30-minute experience that you can do in your own home, lying down, and to take you through a healing experience also. So thank you very much.